good evening everybody and welcome to UTC Sheffield Showcase event. So this is for our city centre site and I'm so pleased to see so many of you with us tonight. I'm going to run through a few house rules in a few minutes and then I'm going to guide you through about what the UTC is about. I'm very aware some of you may be at our current year 11s who are thinking about joining us in post 16, so some of the first part of this presentation will be quite familiar to you. I'll talk a little bit about curriculum and then I'm going to hand over to some of our special guests tonight. So I'm very, very pleased to announce that we're joined by Barry Ryan from Warp Films, who's got some show reels to show you, and then he's going to talk to you a bit about careers in that sector. And then we're joined by Jessica Harrod and Phil Kearney from McLaren, both of which will be available at the end to answer any questions that you may have. We've also got some of our alumni, so Jacob Staniforth and Mia Fidman, who have left us and gone on to do great things, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their experience since leaving with us, and what they've been and what they did while they were here and why they came here. And then we've got two of our year 12 students, Maisie Rotherham and Rosalena Sombe, who are going to talk to you about their experience while they're here. And then there's, as I say, there's an opportunity to do a Q&A at the end. So without further ado, I'll move on. Just to explain a few housekeeping rules. So please, your microphones and cameras are all disabled, and as people speak, they will be turning on their microphones and their cameras. But there is a question and answer box that you should see on your screen. Feel free to fire questions throughout. We've got some staff here in the background who are collating those questions, and we'll be able to throw those to the panelists, or I'll be answering those myself when we get towards the end, and we'll compile all of those and ask them at the end rather than throughout. We're aiming to close around about 6:15, so obviously we'll spend quite a bit of time at the end answering the questions that you've got. We might not have the opportunity to get through all of those questions, so if that's the case, the email address there for our admin team, please fire those to admin@utcsheffield.org.uk, and we'll get back to you if there's things that don't get covered throughout tonight's presentation. So moving on, I'll start off from an introduction for me about what the UTC is. So University Technical Colleges. University Technical Colleges are specialist academies. We take students from 13 to the age of 19, focusing them through level 2 GCSE, right the way up to level 3 technical and A-level qualifications. Here at UTC Sheffield City Centre, we have two specialisms, engineering, advanced manufacturing, and creative and digital media. Both of those specialisms seen as growth areas for the local region and nationally. And we also now have a second site in Sheffield over on the Olympic Legacy Park, whose specialisms are computing, health science and sports science. Why UTCs were created? Because lots of our employers and our partners state that a traditional raw academic curriculum isn't giving them the skill set and the talent pipeline that they need to be able to move their businesses and grow them forward. UTCs have been put here to help to meet the needs of those industries by giving students a mixed academic and technical curriculum. So not only are they getting the core academic qualifications and skills that they need that you might see in a traditional secondary or post-16 education, they're also developing the technical skills required by industry in the specialist areas that we've spoken about. To be a university technical college and carry the name, you have to be sponsored by a university. We're lucky enough here in Sheffield to be sponsored by both. Sheffield Hallam University and the University of Sheffield are key partners, and they help to guide us to make sure that the qualifications we deliver are fit for progression into their universities, and the skills we deliver are also there alongside the machinery that they've helped to advise that we need, alongside software, etc., in creative and digital. I have to point it out, it is academically and technically rigorous. The qualifications that we do are full GCSE at level 2, focus of tonight, obviously post-16. So students get the opportunity to do that mix of rigorous academic A levels that they may do in a traditional sixth form, but alongside high quality vocational and technical qualifications to give that blended learning that I spoke about earlier. We've got amazing employer backing here in Sheffield, some of the strongest employer backing of any UTC in the country. You're going to see some of the quality of that employer backing in the presentations you're going to see shortly. That employer engagement is not tokenistic. Our employers, especially those that have been with us since conception in 2013, have helped to shape the curriculum, define the skill set, but most importantly, set projects bespoke to this UTC in liaison with those employers to make sure that the skills we're developing in students are the ones that they need. Big focus of the UTC, we are destination focused. It's not just about qualifications, they're important and our students achieve it really, really well here, but it's also about where do those qualifications take you. Our progression routes are there, not just into higher education from post-16, the traditional route into university, which lots of our students follow, but also into apprenticeships. And we have a joint focus there to encourage our students to take that mixed approach. The impact of that and all of this, 100% of our students have been able to progress to successful destinations, be that degree, apprenticeship, higher apprenticeship, degree apprenticeship, since we've opened in 2013, which is a stat that most schools and colleges can only dream of. We run a longer business day, particularly for post-16 and depending on your timetable, 8:30 until 4:30. So there's taught lessons running at post-16 right the way up till 4:30. And then we have sessions running after school for a range of different year groups on all sorts of different projects and enrichment activities students can engage with. Our year 9s leave slightly earlier due to their age. We also have professional business wear, so you'll see our sixth formers arriving in their own business suits, as they would expect if they were working in industry and in a professional environment. That gives that real professional ethos and helps with the focus of the building. We've got around about 500 students on roll. To be exact, we're 501 at the moment. Never be more than 600. That's a real positive because it allows us to get to know every single individual that comes to the UTC. And that's something that we're very, very proud of. And it has that more personable environment as an institution. For those of you interested, we are an academy and we're judged as such. We've had 2 successful Ofsteds now. The most recent one back in February 2020. If you're interested in that type of thing, the reports are available on the Ofsted website if you'd like to read about them, and we'd encourage you to do so. Both of them very, very glowing with great reports from Ofsted if you want to have a look at that. A little bit more from me. I've mentioned our employer partners. This is a sample of those employers that have worked with us since conception and some of them who have come on board more recently. You'll see a range of employers there and universities from across both of our sectors in the creative digital and in the engineering sector, many of them supporting us with projects, with destinations, work experience, etc. And that is just a sample of the range of employers that we've got working with us from across the region, and it continues to grow and evolve as we become more mature as an organisation. Some of you will ask, what can I do at Key Stage 5? Every single student does a technical curriculum, so they pick a specialism in creative digital media or in engineering and manufacturing. And then the vast majority then select a range of A-level options alongside that. So on the left-hand side of that slide, you'll see our primary A-level options there for post-16. But having now got 2 UTCs in Sheffield, there is the option to study complementary A-levels at our sister site at Olympic Legacy Park. And some of our students have lots of success moving over there. What you'll notice about our A-level offers is they have been selected specifically because they are the academic underpinnings and those that pair best with the specialisms that we've already spoken about. So, you know, as an example, if you're an engineer, lots of our students will do A-level maths, A-level physics. If you're a creative digital student, they may do art and photography. And those complementary subjects really prepare our students for the next stage of education and careers. Just to put that in a visual format, so not to go too detail into this, but many students will say, I really want to go and get an apprenticeship and I don't think A-levels are for me, I really want to focus on the technical. Well, route 3 at the bottom there means you can do a large technical diploma without ever doing an A-level. At the opposite end of that spectrum, some of our students have ambition to go to Oxford and Cambridge, and our past students and alumni have managed to do that. You can do smaller technical qualification, which gives you the capacity to do up to 3 A-levels, which some of the Russell Group universities, particularly Oxford and Cambridge, still demand because of the rigorous nature of their curriculum. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you can do a medium-sized technical qualification and 2 A-levels. The real point of that slide is to say, whatever your ambition, wherever you want to go, be that university or apprenticeship, there is a pathway here at the UTC that can guide you to be successful in your career and your next phase of education. I mentioned some of our destinations. These are a sample, so these are some of our destinations from recent years, and there's a few more there. So you can see a range of universities, a range of local and national employers where our students have gone on to. I'll be back at the end to speak a little bit more and to answer any questions and talk a little bit more about the application process. But without further ado, I'm going to hand over to 2 of our employers now, starting with Barry Ryan from Warp Films. We're going to start with a show reel, and then Barry's going to talk to you a little bit about Warp Films, what they do, careers, etc. in that sector. So without further ado, I'm just going to move on to the next slide and then mute my microphone.
I find it's best to take things one step at a time.
To us, and a wonderful evening of lovemaking. Basically, you were the worst boyfriend I have ever had.
He's got some big ideas.
I'll do this stuff. My plan is, though, to put a bomb on a crow. We're way beyond crows now, Faisal. What I'm going to do has got a lasting history. Echo through the ages.
Who's picking on you, lad?
Harvey.
Harvey? I've got one of those for you. My name is Harvey.
You're going to have to go back to town in a bit, mate, to sort some business out.
They're bad people. They should suffer.
What about you, mate? What would you do?
You're not going to cause any trouble, are you, lad?
Get no trouble from me, sir.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Barry Ryan. I'm the head of production at Warp Films. I've been with Warp since 2003, where we made, actually 2002, we made a short with Chris Morris. And then in 2003, we made our first feature film, which was called Dead Man's Shoes, some of which you've seen there. That showreel you've just seen is a collection of some of the films that we have made, although it needs updating. We should have updated it. It was made for our 10th anniversary, which was back in 2012. So there's some more stuff to be added to that, including something we'll show to you at the end of this, which is our adaptation of the musical that was originally in the Crucible called Everybody's Talking About Jamie, but we'll show you a bit of that in a second. We are a film and television production company. We're based in Sheffield. Our HQ is up at Park Hill, which is where I am now. We're based in Sheffield primarily because Mark, who's my boss, Mark Herbert, who started up the company, and I joined him from the very, very beginning. We both lived in Sheffield, and when we were given the option of about how we would, once we started making stuff, where we should go, we voted that we might as well stay here because we love the city, and we have families here and stuff like that. So it made sense, and we're quite unique in the sense that we're a successful production company with a significant base. We still have a London office, but our significant base is up here, and we're very proud of being based here and dragging films and television programs. You might have recognised some of the locations around and about of Sheffield and the East Midlands and rest of Yorkshire that we often film in. Like I said, we started in 2002, 2003 making stuff. Since then, we've expanded. We only have about 11 full-time employees, but every time we go and make a film, you expand that out to about at least about 200 people, possibly even more. We started off in Mark's shed at the end of his garden, and slowly expanded, making films like This Is England, which is quite famous, Four Lions, Submarine, and then we also were commissioned by what was the UK Film Council and Film 4, one of our big sort of finances in the UK, to make 10 low-budget films, which we made stuff like Kill List. Some of you might have seen some of these, some of you might not have. Barbarian Sound Studio, Bunny and the Bull. You might recognise some of the actors from them, or some of the, Paul, who directed Bunny and the Bull, went on to make Paddington and Paddington 2. And while we were in the midst of post-production on of Bunny and the Bull, which is one of the films we made, Paul was being sent the artwork for Paddington as an attempt to lure him into working on that film. It took a long while from leaving us to doing that film to get it made, but we think we've got a good ability to spot talent. Over the years, we've got stuff bigger and bigger. We've started making more and more TV, moved into more and more TV, because as you will all know, everyone watches a hell of a lot more TV now, including the expansion of stuff like streamers like Netflix and Amazon. Apple, Disney Plus, all of those things have meant TV becomes a much bigger factor in terms of making any sort of moving visual medium. So we started making Turn This Is England into a TV series. Last year we had a lot of success with another Shane Meadows project called The Virtues. And this year we just had, for Sky, we had a project called Little Birds, which is just on in the autumn, which is an adaptation of a Anais Nin book. Over the years, we've been nominated for 24 BAFTAs and won quite a few of them. And early next year, fingers crossed, COVID pertaining, once the cinemas are reopened, everybody's talking about Jamie, will be released by Disney worldwide, which is it's the biggest film we've ever made, and it's also the biggest release we've ever done. So it's quite a big thing for us. So, what is there for you in the film and television industry? There's a huge amount of opportunity. Like I said, we only have, across our 2 offices, we have about 11 people working for us, but there is, on every project, we employ up to about 200 people, 200 to 300 people. And if you think about how much film and television drama is worth to the country's economy, so it's like 3.6 billion in the UK last year. Which is why one of the reasons when we went into lockdown in March, the film and television industry was very quick into going back to the government and kind of going, if we put these things in place, can we start filming again? And so we're one of the first industries to get back up and running. And things are filming now. Even though we're in the second lockdown, we're still allowed to film, provided we have to follow quite strict restrictions, and we have to put a lot of thought into it. But it's also meant there's a new job created. There's a COVID manager on productions now. So it's an always expanding industry. The industry as a whole, because it's so busy, there's a huge shortage of skills, especially in the regions. Whenever we try and film up here, we're constantly having to drag people up from London because the concentration of the industry is down there. So the more people that are qualified up here, the better it is for stuff that's happening. And because there's such a concentration of work happening in London and the studios down there at the moment, it has meant a lot more and more productions are moving out of London, coming up to Manchester, Leeds, Sheffield, Glasgow. They're moving out of London to film in the regions. I suppose one of the big things to emphasise as well is a lot of the skills shortage is on the technical side. It's so often not, and not just on creative, but as Alex was discussing there, it's not just, oh, I know how to take a picture or anything like that. There's also a lot of engineering, a lot of practical and skills that are across a broad spectrum. So if you think about the scale of what a film can cover, so whether you're working in a production office and have good interpersonal skills and good budgeting skills, but you can also move into the electrical department in terms of the lighting, or moving into the art department in terms of the design and the construction of the sets, or the or hair and makeup or costume. So and then you move into post-production and you've got a panoply of a vast array of different areas to be working in, whether it's working in the audio department. Sheffield's got an amazing history in terms of, especially on the music side, in terms of audio, but those skills are also applicable to the television and film industry. We're often recording cast and stuff from this area so that they can just beam it down to London or wherever we're doing post-production. Editors, visual effects, and even just the coordination of all of those elements become more and more sort of essential, that there is always a job somewhere that someone with a different skill set is applicable to. One of the best sort of sources in terms of finding out a bit more, I'd urge you to go and have a look at the Screen Skills website, screenskills.co.uk, who are the training body for the film industry. So Niall, who's the COO of the company, and myself work on it, and as well as they'll give you an idea of all the different areas that you can work in within the industry, and give you an overview of what training happens while you're on the job, and also what the access points are into the industry. I think there's a big, as I said before, there's a massive push to help increase the regional diversity and the all manner of diversity into the projects, so that there's massive opportunities to get started within the industry and then to progress in the industry. That little beep that was going off was just alarm, because otherwise I'll talk for ages. So I will say the opportunity's there. Hopefully Warp Films are one of the things that you can go, well, those guys did it, so why can't I do it? And I will leave you with, if Alex can play the trailer for Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which, fingers crossed, February 2021 will be hitting your cinemas. We're just we filmed it all in Sheffield. It started off as a theatre show in Sheffield, which we then took on and turned into a film musical. We shot over in Parsons Cross and mainly, and we're just nearly finishing the film now. So fingers crossed, it'll be ready all ready for February, and I hope you enjoy.
This is your last careers lesson. So does anyone have a realistic career plan? Tyson, Denzel, what about you?
YouTubers.
I keep telling you all, you gotta keep things real. Jamie. Jamie New.
Me?
What do you want to be?
A performer.
For a minute there, I had such high hopes for you.
What is wrong with our boy?
You remember when we was little and we used to play dress up? Well, for me, that's a game I don't want to stop playing.
I'm done with this. I wanted a son so badly. But I got you.
The cold, empty mornings. I don't think I've got a dad anymore. You've done nothing wrong, Jamie. You never did.
So, why do you want to be on stage?
I want to be a drag queen because it's all I ever dream of. And when I close my eyes, it's all I can see.
If Jamie wants to come to prom, he comes just like all the other boys.
You are a freak.
They made me feel so ugly. I'm scared.
You can't just be a boy in a dress, Jamie. A boy in a dress is something to be laughed at. A drag queen should be feared. You won't believe the power it gives you.
I don't just want to be one. I have to be one.
Stop waiting for permission to be you.
Do what you want to do. Be who you want to be.
You are the bravest person I know. You're like Beyonce.
No. Mum, do you ever wish I were just normal? No. Never. And you don't even know it. Your room's so tidy, I don't know how you do it.
I don't have as many dresses as you do.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to Barry for his contribution there, and the new film looks absolutely great. Barry's going to be here at the end if you've got any questions for them, so please throw them into the Q&A box. Barry is one of the first who's got to shoot off that little bit earlier today, so if you've got any questions, we'll fire those at Barry first to make sure he's got the opportunity to answer them. And I'd like to say again a big thank you for his contribution. So up next we've got our second employer, so I'd like to welcome Philip Kearney and Jessica Harrod from McLaren, and you're going to hear a little bit about what they do here in Sheffield and actually get an insight into the new composites facility or technology centre over on the Parkway. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Philip and Jessica. So we've now got the opportunity to hear from some of our alumni and a few of our students. I'm going to start with our alumni, so if I could kindly ask Jacob and Mia to turn their cameras and mics on, please. Hello, there's Mia. And we've got Jacob as well. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to go to Jacob first, so I'll ask a question. Jacob, if you could respond, and then Mia, if you could follow, that would be great, please. So first of all, Jacob, could you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since you left the UTC?
Yeah, hi guys. So when I left UTC, I went to Sheffield Hallam for a year to do a level 4 in mechanical engineering. I then moved to Nottingham Trent to do a BSc in product design. During that, I spent a year working as a design engineer in the Netherlands, and then I've now graduated and I'm a design engineer at Chesterfield Special Cylinders.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Mia?
Hi, so I'm Mia and I'm currently studying Media, Communication and Cultural Studies at Newcastle University and I'm in first year.
Wonderful. So next question, back to Jacob, and Mia, I'll come back to you shortly. Jacob, could you tell us a little bit about your experience at the UTC and how you think it's helped you get where you are today?
Yeah, my experience at UTC for me was very personalised, sort of directed to exactly where I wanted to be at that moment in time. So I always wanted an engineering route, and I always wanted to be able to express myself, and I found that in a lot of the units, like the CAD units, and everything becomes sort of your take on a sort of brief, and that's led me on to being able to find a correct degree for myself where I can attack those briefs, and a job where I can attack briefs that with my own creativity, and I think UTC has really driven me down that path.
Thank you, Jacob. Mia?
So I attended UTC from 2015 to 2020, and I can say that the mix of teaching in the technical subject, it's like no other else. The teachers have experience in industry, which is really helpful, and I found in sixth form it was a great addition to be able to work with clients and get a brief and get like a sense of the actual industry that you're going into. So through this I realised that I wanted to study public relations and going into that as a career, and I learned that by working with Cancer Alliance South Yorkshire in a brief to create a campaign.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you both so much. I'm conscious of time, and I know we want to give people the opportunity to ask questions. So both Jacob and Mia are here with us till the end of the evening. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask about their careers and their experience at UTC, please again drop them in the Q&A box, and Mia and Jacob will be back at the end. So guys, thank you so much. I think if you could kindly turn your cameras and mics off, and we're going to go to some current students now who can talk about their current experience, who are from home this evening. So could I ask Maisie and Rosalind to turn their cameras and mics on, please? There they are. Hi both. I hope you're both okay. So I'm going to ask a question. Maisie, if you could respond first, and then Rosalind second. So first question, really straightforward one, I hope. Maisie, starting, what made you decide to come to the UTC?
Well, I first started at the UTC in year 10, and that was mainly because I really wanted to do media, and my school was no longer offering that anymore. And then when it came to post 16 again, it's just my love for the subject overall.
Thank you, Maisie. Rosalind?
I think I just wanted a new experience, because my school, we didn't have any technical subjects at all. Our school was just pure English, maths, you know, the normal standard route. And I thought, well, it's a challenge, it's something new and something different.
Thank you so much. So Maisie, and then I'll come back to you, Rosalind. How have you found your experience at the UTC? In both of you been here quite a long time now.
This will be my 5th year at UTC. It's amazing. There's not really enough you can say about it, because it's just like the teaching's there. It's exactly what you need it to be. You're doing amazing things. You're working with clients. You're meeting people. You're actually doing real life stuff. It's not just, you're not just sat writing essays. That's not what it is. You're making things. You're becoming what you want to be.
Rosalind?
For me, it's more of that it's very hands-on. Everything you get taught, you do practical, and the teachers, they're not just teachers who are just teaching the subject like they went to university and they're just teaching it. They've actually been in the industry, they know how it works, and they're always there trying to help you, trying to push you to be do what you want to do in industry. And they never not help you. You ask them a question, they've got an answer for it, and if not, they always try and find a way around it.
Thank you both so much. Okay, last question really, and this one is a little bit about what you're studying, where you're hoping to go. So again, Maisie, and then Rosalind, I'll come to you. So Maisie, just in a bit more detail, what are you actually studying at the moment in year 13, and where are you hoping to go afterwards at the end of your studies?
So I'm doing the double qualification in media, so I'm doing the 2 A levels, and then I do art as my third A-level, and I'm hoping to go into like social media marketing and advertising and running campaigns and just creating all the stuff you see down your Facebook feed.
Thank you. Rosalind?
Me, I'm doing the same. I'm doing the 720 route with 2 A-levels. I'm also taking extended project, and hopefully after year 13 I can get an apprenticeship.
Thank you both so much. That's brilliant. So thanks so much to our alumni and our students.